Akadosh Boker Tov, Masechet Ketubot Daf Lamedchet Amud Aleph 38a1. Says the Gemara, what are we talking about? We were talking about Amar Rabbi Chama Itzrich. We need the ribuy of the pasuk kol cherem. Sal kadai tamina, because I would have thought to say when it says v'lo tikhu chofer, you're not allowed to take an atonement, meaning you're not allowed to take a ransom in order to save a person when killing him. Hanemele, one of these words, he says Echad Aragomi, he killed them derech aliyah, on the way upwards. Right? That if he would have done a mishogeg, he does not go to galut. Yeah? So therefore, in such a halacha, you're not going to take because only it says the person goes to galut if it was a downwards action, not an upwards action, because they learn it from V'yipilu alav. So therefore, if he did a mishogeg, he doesn't go to the galut. But if he did kill him downwards, that if he would have done a mishogeg, he goes to the mikla. So I would have thought to say, yeah, take a ransom, and then you don't send him to galut, right? You don't kill him, right? Kamash Malan comes to teach you kol cherem that you don't do that. Okay, very good. Amale Rava says Rava Hamidetana de Bechizkiya nafka. Says 1 second. I thought that we already learned this from Tana de Bechizkiya in the Braita, because it says over there Makeh Adam Makeh Be'ema. מה מכה בהמה לא חילקת במשוגג במזיד במתכוון שלא מתכוון דרך ידידה דרך עלייה לפוטרו ממון אל חייבו ממון. If you remember, the Tana was a Braita. The Braita there already said when it made a juxtaposition between makeh adam makeh behema, so we compared everything together, that just like by makeh behema, there's no difference between if it was by accident, if it was on purpose, if it was bekavana, lo bekavana, whether it was going to be derech aliyah, derech yadida, you're always going to be patur from mamon, right? So he says because it's not going to be patur from one, you're going to be chayam mamon. So to makeh adam, there's not going to be a difference. Then shogeg, mezid, mitkaven, shelo mitkaven, derech yidia, derech aliyah, chayam mamon, patur mamon, that you're going to be patur from mamon. So you see from here that we already learned from Tana Vechizkiya, right, that there's no difference between whether you kill derech aliyah or yeridah, right? And by both of them, you're not going to exempt from death, right, because of tashlum of kofet. So therefore, why do I need the pasuk again of kol cherem? So Elamar Rami Bar Chama, but rather Rami Bar Chama comes and he says, Itzich, you need it. Why? Sal Kadaitach, I mean, I would have thought to say, Hanemilu, one of these words, Hecha de Sime et Eno Baragoba. What happens if he blinded him and he killed him? So therefore, in such a case, right, the Hezek and the Rotzeach comes at the same time, in the same action. Meaning he went and he blinded him, but at the same time he blinded him, he killed him. What happens if he blinded him and he killed him with something else that has nothing to do with the simat ayin? So I would say maybe by that he also has to pay. He gets the death penalty, right, because he killed him, but the payment was because of something else. It was a different action. So therefore, that's why we come and we need this pasuk. Then no, right? So Amale Rava comes and he says, Hanami, this also. Me'idach Tana Vechizkiya. We learn it from another Tana Vechizkiya. Why? We learned another Tana Vechizkiya. Ayin tachat ayin velo ayin b'nefesh tachat ayin. You only do an ayin tachat ayin, which means money for money, money for an ayin. But you don't do an ayin and the nefesh tachat ayin. Meaning we don't do also money and also to kill, right? The nefesh tachat ayin. So Elam Ravashi says you're right. Itzich, you still need it. I would have thought to say I would have thought to say that it's a chidush. What's a chidush? That here there's a knas. And therefore, since it's a chidush to pay the knas, even if you get killed, you would still need to pay. Kamash malan that you don't do that. Rabbi, and according to Rabbi, what does he do with the pasuk kol cherem? Right? He holds like the Tanakama that he says kol cherem is coming to teach you that if somebody is going to make a neder to the mikdash on somebody that is going on the way to be killed, he's going to be patur from paying back. Okay, and here we're on the Mishnah. Says the Mishnah. Yeah, says the Mishnah. Imagine you have a young lady that she got engaged. Remember the engagement of the Torah, and then she got divorced, and then afterwards she was violated. What? No, she got divorced. Come on. Yeah, nitarsa. That's the first step of marriage. Remember, nitarsa is irusin, not nisuin. Irusin means that they don't live together, but they are married. So now they got engaged, the engagement of the Torah, then they got divorced. And then after she got divorced, before marriage, before the full marriage, right? And then what happens is somebody comes and he violates her. So Rabbi Yosef says, En la knas. He does not have to pay the knas to this woman. Rabbi Akiva says, Yesh la knas. She does get a knas. But the knas goes to her. Usually the knas goes to who? La nara, to the father of the girl. In this case, she goes to her herself. It doesn't go to the father, right, of the girl. What's the reasoning of Rabbi Yosef? Amarka, it says in the pasuk, Asher lo orasa, only that you have to give a knas to a woman which was not engaged. Haorasa, if she was engaged, and la knas, she doesn't get a knas. Rabbi Kiva comes and he says, no, Asher lo orasa is le'aviha. Haorasa le'atzma, which means like this, according to everybody, when it says Asher lo orasa, and orasa means that she wasn't engaged, and she is engaged. What are we saying now, though? According to Rabbi Yosef, he learns that the second that she's engaged, there's no more knas. The second shita, which Rabbi Akiva said, no, you're right. Before engagement, it goes to the father. The second that she's engaged, it goes to her. That's what they both learn. Right? So 1 second. So now we're going to ask a question. Na'ara velo bogeret. When we say that it has to be a na'ara is between 12 and 12 and a half. And not a bogeret. So also we should say it goes le'atzma. Right? Betula velo beula. Hachenami de l'atzma. Also a betula, when it says that she's na'ara betula, only a betula, it goes to the father, but if it's a beula, it goes to her. Ela legamre. But it means 100% that a bogeret and beula does not get knas. Hachenami legamre. Which means like this. According to Shitat Rabbi Akiva, what did Rabbi Akiva say? Asher lo orasa, that she wasn't engaged. If she was engaged, it goes to her. If she wasn't engaged, it goes to her father. If she's engaged, it goes to her. So why don't you say that about everything? It says that she has to be a na'ara. We say na'ara velo bogeret. If she's a bogeret after 12 and a half, no knas. Says the Gemara. Why don't we say that no, there is a knas, but it goes to her. And the same thing, it says betula. Only a betula does it go to the father. If she's a beula, no, it should go to her. Meaning, if you're already coming and saying that no, it's this but not this, so we come and we say that no, if it's a betula velo beula, beula in klum, it's a na'ara velo bogeret, bogeret in klum, there's nothing. So then 1 second, so the same thing, asher lo rasa and klum, there's nothing. Why do you say no? In this case, it goes to the father. So in all the it goes to her when she was engaged. So say that about everything. Betula goes to the father, beula goes to her, right? Na'ara goes to the father, bogeret goes to her. Right? Asher lo orasa goes to the father. Orasa goes to her. Say this thing by all of them. So Elmaleh Rabbi Akiva says, Hailo orasa mibayle lechetanya. You need the lo orasa for something else. Asher lo orasa prat lenara shnitasam nitkasha shel knas. These are the words of Rabbi Yosef. So our Mishnah. Again, when it says Asher lo orasa, she wasn't engaged, this comes to exclude a woman that she was engaged and then she got divorced. These are the words of Rabbi Yosef that she does not get a knas. Rabbi Akiva says, Yesh la knas, she does get knas, uknasa lehavia. And the knas goes to the father. Ve'adin noten, and it's also going to be like a kavachomer, hoil ve'avia zakai bekesef kiddusha, ve'avia zakai bekesef knasa, right? Just like the father gets the money of the kiddushin, so to the father gets the kesef of the knas. So ma kesef kiddusha, just like by the money of the kiddushin, even though she got engaged and she got divorced, it goes to the father. Yeah. So to the kesef of the knas. Even though she got engaged and she gets divorced, it goes to the father. Right? Which means we're making kavachomer that it should always go to the father. So the Gemara is going to ask him, so what is it coming to teach you Asher lo rasa? So it says mufne, it's extra, in order to make a gzera shava for it. And it's extra, meaning that it's without any learning. But it says Asher lo rasa, and it says over there Asher lo rasa. What is the difference? One of them is by pitui, and one of them is by ones. Remember, pitui is seducing, and ones is honest, violating. Makan chamishim, and then chamishim to teach us the chamishim, meaning it's the same amount. Just take over there at shekels. So to here it's going to be shekalim, which means that we're learning the knas. We're learning everything, right, hand in hand. That it's both the exact same amount. Where do we learn that? From the Gzera Shava. And that's why it says, Asher lo orasa. Okay, as a Gemara. According to Rabbi Akiva, my chazid, why did you say that Asher lo orasa is for Gzera Shava and betula is lemute beula? Which means, 1 second, why is it that you're telling me now that Asher lo orasa is for Gzera Shava? And the word betula, which is also both parashiot, is coming la puke beula. right? That a beula does not get the knas, lamelcheta mubet, right? 38b. Ema betula ligzera shava. Do the opposite. Betula is for gzera shava. Shelo rasa is prat lenara. The shelo rasa comes to say, like Rabbi Yosef Leh, that it's a girl that she got engaged and she got divorced. That there's no knas. So answers the Gemara. Mistabra shelo rasa ligzera shava. It's much more mistaber to say shelo rasa is gzera shava. Share ani kore ba nara betula, because she's still a nara betula, meaning that she's still fitting to get a knas. She's still a nara betula. So therefore, okay, she's megureshet, right? She's divorced. What do I care? Right? She's still a nara betula. So it's much better to say that the shelo rasa comes for the gzera shava and not the betula. Says the Gemara, the opposite. Betula should be for the gzera shava. Shariani korela shelo rasa, because I still say that she's lo rasa. What does that mean? That this nara shenitasav kasha, she's coming out and therefore she doesn't get a knas, but she's still a betula. So says the Gemara, mistabra, it's more logical to say hayishtane gufa v'haylo yishtane gufa. This girl, which is a beula, her body changed before the onus, before being violated. So therefore, since she lost her virginity already, it's not, I mean, even though she was violated, it's not such a big defect. Meaning a woman that's not a virgin, if she's violated, okay, fine, you know. But here, lo yishtane gufa, here, a woman that she was 100% still a betula. So now when the guy comes and he violates her, it's a mamasha, you understand? It's a violation, it's something. If it was a girl that anyway, she's just sleeping around, so okay, fine. So he violated her, which means he went against her will. But she was already a beula, she was already a used object, right? Here, she's a 100% a new object, right? And you're destroying it. It's like if a person comes and they're going to steal. They steal something new or used, right? If he steals something new, it's got a much higher value than it's going to come and he's going to steal something which is going to be used. Okay, let's go. So says the Gemara, when it says Ashelo Rasa, how do you know that you have to do 50 kesef? Because again, he's using Ashelo Rasa to teach you that Ashelo Rasa, if she's Orasa, if she was engaged, there's no knas. So then how do you know that you have to pay 50 kesef? So he says, Nafkalemi Tanya, he learns it from that which we learned in the Braita. We learn in the Braita, Kesef Ishkol Kemora Betulot. She is Ze Kemora Betulot, which means that here it should be like the Kemora Betulot. Mora Betulot, but then it should be the same, which means the Mora Betulot should be like the Knas, and the Knas should be like the Mora Betulot. So therefore it's going to be the same thing. So Kacha, the Rabbi Akiva. So there's a question, Rabbi Akiva on Rabbi Akiva. So answers the Gemara. You're right. There's two different Tanaim and Liba Rabbi Akiva, because Rabbi Akiva was the first one that said that once out she was in Nitarsa Nitkasha, you have to pay to herself, right? And the other one is coming and saying no, right? So he comes and he says, Bishma Rabbi Akiva. I understand Rabbi Akiva in our Mishnah that she gets the money and not the father. Right? And therefore the pasuk is not going, the Gzera Shava is not going to come and take out the pasuk from its simple pshat. Okay? Right? Why? Because we're just going to say that no, that she still has the knas. But according to Rabbi Akiva the Braita, that we give a knas and it still goes to the father. He says, 1 second, the Gzera Shava is going to come and take it completely away from its simple explanation. The simple explanation is a Shelo Rasa, she gets no knas whatsoever. You came in, you said, no. Shelo Rasa goes to the father, but it goes to herself. Now you're going to tell me, no, a Shelo Rasa and it still goes to the father? You're completely uprooting the pasuk. So Amar Rav Nachman ben Yitzchak said, Nachman ben Yitzchak, Karibeh Shelo Arusa. You don't read it Orasa. You read it Arusa, which means right now she's not an Arusa. Not that she wasn't engaged in the past. She's not engaged now. Capish? Yes, Ashelo Rasa, that she wasn't engaged, right? So he says Ashelo Arusa Achshav. So ask the Gemara, Arusa? But Skila, I don't understand you. If she's an Arusa now, right, they get Skila. Also the man and also the woman. So what are you talking about then? If he came and he violated her, what do I care about now paying 50 kesef? You kill him. You give him Skila. So what are you talking about now that now she's engaged? That she's engaged right now and he violated her? Death penalty. What do I care about now about the 50 kesef? So says the Gemara, no. I would have thought to say, here, since it's a chidush, even though he's killed, he would have to pay the 50 kesef as well. So therefore, Kamash Malan, note that he doesn't have to pay the knas. And according to Rabbi, that he says, that even though he gets killed, he still has to pay. Michael, what are you going to say? So Savla Karbakiv Madi, he also like in our Mishnah that the Gzira Shava does not take the Pasuka Shelo Rasa from the Legamre, and therefore he comes and he says that if Nitarsa, the Knas goes to Avia, and if Nitarsa Nitkarsha, the Knas goes to herself. And since it's going to herself, something different. So Tana Rabbanan, we learned in the right, the Knasa Lemi, the Knas of Anara that she was, who does it go to? Leavia. Yeshomrim Latzma. Some people say it goes to her. Latzma, why would it go to herself? Why in the world would she get the money? So he says, Amai. We're talking about that she already got engaged and then she got divorced. And there's a machlok between Rekiva and the Mishnah and Rekiva of the Braita. So therefore, that's why one opinion says it goes to the father, one opinion says it goes to herself. Okay?
The father is not here anymore.
Rabbi says, imagine right now somebody has relations with a Nara Betula, right, which means he violates her, right? And then she dies. He's going to be patush. The Mabba says in the pasuk, you're going to give to the father of the Nara, velo lavi meta, not to the father of the one that died. Minta the pshita lele Abaye, so this would, which was a question to Abaye, mi baile le Rava, they needed it for Rava. They buy Rava because Rava asked the question, Yesh begel bakever uem begel bakever. Is there bagrut in the tombstone or not? Which means she already passed away. And now the question is, now she becomes a bogeret. So is there a bogeret in the kever or not? Because she already died. So says the Gemara, Yesh begel bakever v'divna have. Right? Do we say that there is begel bakever and therefore the knas is shayach to the child? Or dimar, do we say em begel bakever udavi have? If there's no begel bakever and therefore it belongs to the father. Right? So then the Gemara is going to ask, how could it be? Right? What? She actually died and then she could become pregnant and then, well, what's going on over here? So that's what the Gemara is going to say in the next